Jim, you've been warning about the dangers facing the European chemical industry for a long time,
Yeah.
but why are you raising this again now?
Well, because it's the 11th hour for the chemical industry. There's, in my view, not a great deal of time left before we see a catastrophic decline in the chemical industry in Europe, which historically was the biggest chemical industry in the world. But I think in the next few years we're going to see a catastrophic decline in the size of that industry in Europe.
And how important is that industry?
Economically, it's a million direct jobs, 5 million if you take the supporting industries, 700 billion euros, so it's €750 billion euros. It's an enormous industry, third or fourth biggest industry in Europe. So that has a huge economic impact if we see that decline substantially.
And what are the big problems facing the industry right now?
The biggest problems are energy, where we are currently paying 4 times for gas what America are paying. We're paying 4 times for electricity what America are paying. And then layered on top of that, we have this huge carbon tax, which is extremely expensive and unaffordable when you layer on top of that the energy costs that we're paying. So we can't compete with China or America, let alone the Middle East, which has got super low raw material costs, and the industry will close down.
But how much a problem would it be if we were importing our product from the US and China?
It has an economic implication because you lose millions of jobs and you lose billions in value added. And strategically, you become reliant on other parts of the world. I know America clearly is our ally, but nevertheless, you still have to bring those products across the ocean, and that there is a strategic vulnerability in that. And America are going to charge us for those products, and you're always better off, in charge of your own destiny, manufacturing your own products, employing your own people.
Do you think governments are hearing these issues?
I think we're getting sympathetic noise. We've had a good conversation, I have to say, in France, at the highest level in France, and in Belgium. And Belgium, chemicals is important in Belgium because they have that very large European cluster of chemicals in Antwerp. So, yeah, they are listening and they are sympathetic, but we get more sympathy than we get action. And at the highest level in Europe, we're getting very little action. We're just on the receiving end of a very poor tariff negotiation with the USA, where the USA now can import chemicals into Europe with 0 tariff. I mean, if we export product to America, we pay 15% tariff. Well, that isn't a great negotiation in my book for an industry which is so strategic for Europe. So, no, they need, we don't want the sympathy, we want the actions.
So how about the UK? Is Britain a lost cause now for chemicals?
I think the UK is getting pretty close to being a lost cause for chemicals, with Ed Miliband shutting down the North Sea. I mean, that's our source of competitive energy. And he is dismantling that remarkable asset in the UK. And I can't see any light at the end of the tunnel in the UK on where do we find competitive energy. And if you look at most of the big chemical facilities in the UK, there are signs that they are closing. And I think there's going to be precious little left in 3 or 4 years' time in the UK, I'm afraid.
So we've got a clear view of what's wrong.
Yeah.
What can the European politicians actually do to change things?
Well, the politicians have to be clear that we're at the 11th hour. They can't prevaricate any longer, and they really do need to make some changes. And there are 3 things they need to do. Firstly, energy. Energy needs to be competitive in Europe, and the very minimum they need to do is remove the green taxes and levies from energy costs in Europe. Secondly, carbon tax they need to scrap. We just simply cannot afford a carbon tax. That's just shutting industry down and chemicals in Europe. And thirdly, we need some tariff protection, but we need them to be more reactive on tariffs. At the moment, it's taking them years to consider tariff cases. We need action, not just sympathetic words for the chemical industry.